I am here to explain to you why Belal Muhammad is just hype. And that's all he is. Belal Muhammad really is just hype. There's not a lot of skill to him, like you may see. I don't know how you see it. He took Damian Maya to decision in 2021. Damian Maya, 2021. Decision. That don't seem right to me. I don't know about you guys, but I think he should have definitely been beating Damian Maya. But and then he beat Vicente Luque, which is a pretty good win. But look where Vicente Luque is now. He's on quite the losing streak after losing to Wonder Boy pretty bad. I mean, granted, we all love Vicente Luque and want to see him win, and his next fight is against Nick Diaz. But why is he fighting Nick Diaz? There's your answer. You know it. But before that, he beat Wonder Boy. How did he beat Wonder Boy? Same way Burns beat Wonder Boy 3 months before him. Alright? It wasn't in an impressive fashion. It was the same hugging Wonder Boy against the cage until Wonder Boy makes a mistake and then we drag him down and we don't do anything with it. He never got him in full mount. He never threatened a submission. He never threatened an armbar or something like that. It was a pretty boring fight and it was lame as shit to do to Wonder Boy. He didn't try to grapple him hard. He was literally just waiting for Wonder Boy to make a mistake while he's hugging him, which is pretty goddamn lame. Then he beat Sean Brady with a standing TKO. He never dropped Brady once. Brady was just taking damage and couldn't avoid a punch to save his life. Sean Brady's takedowns weren't that good that fight. We've seen him take much better takedowns. That fight, he literally just bent his back down and shot for a takedown. His legs were never involved in the takedown sequences. It didn't look impressive at all from Sean Brady, and it didn't look impressive from Belal. It looked like Sean Brady's worst night. And Sean Brady went to war with Michael Chiesa, getting split up, getting his head split open by Michael Chiesa, which never looks good. I'll never understand how Michael Chiesa will split another man up, but happened to Sean Brady. All right? And then he fought a one-armed Gilbert Burns. A one-armed Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns had to be injured going into the fight. The way he got injured in the first round and couldn't use his arm. It was, if I remember correctly, it was something in his neck or his arm right here, but it was something that he couldn't use his arm at all completely. He couldn't throw proper punches with it, land damage. He could barely wrestle with it, and Belal still wasn't able to do really anything other than outpoint him. And it was not by a lot of points if it was a point match style. And then against his match with Leon Edwards, he somehow all of a sudden got faster punches. Hey, good on his boxing coach, Horacio Gutierrez, which we'll get on in a second. Good on him that he's magically able to punch faster at the age of 36. His takedowns, he was able to pick up Leon and spin him. After the first round, Leon was done. Going into the fourth round, he told his coach to shut the fuck up. Leon was done. He barely beat Usman. He got a lucky... No, well, not lucky because everything is thrown with intention, but that head kick only landed because Usman, in his mind, slept like a baby the night before for that round. That round, he was coasting. He was ready. He thought he already won. He thought he had a dejected challenger in front of him. And Usman pretty much signed over the contract that he was done, and then Leon landed a magical head kick. Good for him. But who does he fight next? Colby Covington. And what did he do with Colby Covington? He stared at him. He took pictures of Colby Covington. He didn't throw much. He didn't throw in volume. He was just taking pictures of Colby Covington looking goofy right in front of him. Like, that was pretty bad for Leon not to be able to finish Colby Covington that fight, if you ask me. And then let's go back to his coach, Horacio Gutierrez, right? Horacio Gutierrez is not as bad as you may seem. I mean, he is training a welterweight as a featherweight. That's good because he's smaller and smaller guys need to have better technique. But he beat Chris Avelia, which is one of Nick and Nate Diaz's teammates, who's also been boxing in Misfits now. And then he beat Cody Gibson, which is currently in the UFC after winning the last TUF season. Or not winning it, but being in the last TUF season. And then, after beating Cody Gibson, which is a pretty decent win, he fought a guy who's 1-2. Right? Fought a guy who's 1-2. He's fought for the UFC belt before, and he plans on coming back to the UFC. But he's fought a guy who's 1-2 at his last fight, and he's asking to come back to the UFC. He beat Cody Gibson and then beat a guy who's 1-2. Delusion runs in this camp. Delusion runs strong in that camp. I'll tell you that. And that's why he's just hype. I mean, there hasn't been anything impressive to Belal. He hasn't beaten anybody in an impressive fashion. He hasn't even beaten anybody impressive, right? He's just hype. He hasn't done much for the sport other than put a champion and call himself Palestinian. He was born in America, right? Born in Chicago. He grew up eating cheeseburgers and hot dogs, right? How is he all of a sudden from the Middle East? He is American. He's a full blood American. He might train with Khabib and other Russians, but he trains with Khabib and other Russians in America. He does not leave America to go train with those guys. He still stays in America to train. I don't know how he claims Palestinian. It's like, at least move to Palestine if you're gonna claim their country. He might have Palestinian blood, but that doesn't still makes him American. He was born here in America, so he's just hype. Belal hasn't done anything impressive to make me jump off my socks like all you guys are talking about. He's gonna be the next GOAT and calling himself right behind George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre had like 7 title defenses, right? Belal has hit 1 title win, and all of his wins are against journeymen, right? Belal's just hype.